here's how we're making the rows. Is with this little tiller, Honda GX25. You don't have to mix the gas. It has a little crankcase in it, so you just put regular gas in it. Does pretty good. It's quiet, powerful little thing. But the flags there are the rows, as you can see over there where we've done a few. But the flag is the middle of the row, and so like here, the flag we'll till in between rows and then rake that tilled dirt on top of the row. So that's what Joanna's doing down there. See, she's raking the tilled up dirt on top of the row section. So I'm gonna go ahead and start here, till in between the rows down there to the end, and then that should give us our 5 rows once we're done, and then we'll move on to drip tape. So let's start this thing up. Okay, we got the rows done. Turned out okay. So we're gonna run the main line for the drip tape. Okay, we got the drip tape. Ran down the first row. This drip tape just has emitters every so often. There's one right there. Hole in the tape. That's what lets the water out. So you lay it down with holes facing up to keep dirt out of the holes. And then you've got a 1/2 inch round, hard main line that supplies the water to the drip tape. And then you put these little fittings on there, like similar to just a classic kind of drip that you'd use for your flower beds or something. You punch a hole in the main line, and then you stick that barb in there, and it attaches to that drip tape. Fabric I got is a DeWitt. It's the Pro 5. It's like a 5-ounce fabric. It's like a lifetime guarantee. I think some of the other DeWitts have 10-year, 20-year, and this one's lifetime. It has sort of a fuzzy backliner on it. But of course the top surface is smooth. So we'll get back to working on laying out all the rows here. And this is how we burn the holes in the weed fabric. I've made this template here. It's made out of aluminum, and we just had these holes, 3-inch holes, 3-inch diameter, punched every 6-inch on center. So you can kind of use it for a multitude of different plants. Like in this case, I'm using it just for tomatoes. So I'm doing 2 foot. So I do the first hole, and then I skip 3 to the other one. I put these on there just to kind of remind myself to do the right ones, because sometimes if you're doing a whole lot of these, you'll goof up and accidentally do the wrong spacing. So that seems to help. And this aluminum is great too, won't ever rust, and we can just reuse it for years and years. So I'll show you how we do one of these. I try and kind of put a little bit of pressure on it, and this is just a propane torch that like plumbers use, and it lights automatically with the button there. I kind of keep it on a little bit of a lower setting because you just need a little bit of heat to burn this stuff. So here, we'll go ahead and do one. And that's it. Well, here's how we cut the fabric off the roll, is with these big old scissors here. They're real sharp. I'll show them to you. They're 22W for wide. The blades are real wide, real thick. These things are really sharp, make pretty quick work of this cutting, and it doesn't fray the end of it all that bad. Versus like if you were trying to cut it with a utility knife, it tends to want to just rip it real bad. And here's my incoming hose line. It runs up here, goes in the side of this box I had laying around. Decided I'd use it for something, so I used it to house my timer for the drip tape. And then the line comes out of the timer and goes down to the filter, and there's a pressure regulator. Drops it down to 15 psi before it goes into the drip hard line, which then feeds the drip tape that's buried underneath my furrows. Now these timers, I always just kind of get a new one every year. They don't ever really seem to last, or they'll get to goofing up on you. I'm trying the Rainbird one this year. Maybe I'll have better luck. Rainbird, I know, makes some good quality products, so, and maybe with it being in an enclosure like this, it'll survive the season a little bit better. I've got my tomatoes planted. I left one row empty over there on the end. I've got some more seeds going in the shop. It's some red snapper from Haas Tools. We're gonna try that out on that last row. They just need a little bit more time in the shop, but we've got these 4 rows of one is a porter. The second row, I think, is Texas Star. The third row is a cherry tomato, Texas Wild. And then the 4th row, I believe, is a combination of a couple things, but mainly it's like a Brandywine. So we've got the drip tape buried under our rows. And covered all up. The corn down here, I've seeded all the corn spots the other day. I guess we got one little guy starting to pop up there. And a couple others are just barely breaking ground, so we're looking pretty good. We've had a lot of rain recently, so I hadn't been running the drip, but I sure like this radio. If you're doing much work outside or anything, it's Bluetooth and all that good stuff, but kind of makes gardening a little bit more enjoyable when you got some tunes to listen to. So it's kind of what I've been doing, coming down here, listen to the radio and work on the garden some. Oh, I did finish the netting on the roof over the whole garden, and we've got the chicken wire and everything on the side walls, so we're pretty well protected in here. Just being out here on the ranch, everybody wants to eat your tomatoes, from birds all the way up to deer and everything in between. So we try and kind of keep them out of here. But we're using the Florida weave method for staking the tomatoes up. We're not going to use those goofy cages or anything anymore. But just run you some T-posts on the end of your row every 2 plants. See there's the T-post to the left. Every 2 plants, run you a piece of rebar or wooden stake, and you see when I come down the line there, I wrap it around that rebar. All the way down to the end. Run you another T-post there. Tomorrow should be a sunnier day. Maybe these guys will take off and get a little bigger. You can see on the netting, I ran some wire. Got some heavy gauge wire and stretched it real tight down the center and went crossways as well over to the corners. So it's got quite a bit of steel wire supporting it all. I like it so far. It's almost like a batting cage in here now. But it's a lot of work to get these gardens all set up and going. You'd hate for an intruder to come in and wreck all your hard work, so hopefully we won't have any problems with that this year.